3, technically, of What is Love? Summer Nights being the the expanded reissue of the EP itself, with 3 tracks. Now, Dance the Night Away, that has the music video, so that already has its own reaction. So that just leaves 2 tracks, Chillax and Shot Through the Heart. And let's... for anybody who's wondering, Gio, I think she said she was in a bad mood. I think, 1, it's the weather. And then 2, it was something about trying to post stuff to Instagram. She kind of has a difficult time with posting things to Instagram. I can relate. It's I try to keep up, but I can relate. Nyan also posted too. She's just talking about the weather also. I guess it's rainy but hot, so it's kind of like it's one of those things that makes you make up your mind, are you gonna be this, or are you gonna be that, or I don't know what to do. It's like you can't really make plans, I guess. You know what I mean? It's kind of the thing that is frustrating about it. But anyways, let's go ahead and listen to Chillax. Where's my volume? There.
오늘은 피곤해 입에 붙어버린 그 말 딱 일주일만 쉬고 싶은데 어디론가 훌쩍 떠나고 싶은데 내가 집순인 줄 아는데 나도 잘해 노는 거 쉬는 거 정말 음악들 하나 꺼 춤추는 거 수다 떨다가 밤새는 거 반짝이는 파도 타버릴 것만 같은데 떠날 거야 갈 거야 말리지 마 갈 거야 여행이 아니라도 아무 생각 없이 쉴래 걷고 싶네 돌아볼 시간이 필요해 오늘 하루만 아무것도 생각 안 할래 아무것도 Just chill chill relax relax chill chill relax relax 오늘 할 일은 내일로 내일 할 일은 모레로 Just chill chill relax relax chill chill relax relax Yeah boy 잠깐만 하던 거도 멈춰봐 손에 들고 있던 전화기 잠시 내려놔 Don't think about 달렸잖아 내 맘이 시키는 대로 복잡한 생각 미루고 길러져 볼래 Let me be myself 날 찾고 싶어 나도 날 돌아볼 시간이 필요해 Just chill chill relax relax chill chill relax
A little bit of a house feel, maybe perhaps a touch of EDM, right? The bass is really, it's again, JYP Productions just always handle the bass, especially for Twice songs. That it's always done very well. It's such a, like, the bass is big, but it's also very round. It works with the lighter sort of pitch percussion, that tropical kind of sound that's going on. The rhythm here, it's where you get like 1, a 2, 3, a 4. Like there's a little 16th note hit in the percussion that comes before the 2 and the 4, and it's you get an accent on the 2 and the 4. It's effectively the same thing, but it gives a little bit of that swing feel also, because you're getting these groups of actual, like, you could call it 3 beats, and they're evenly spaced apart. Jonghyun again hitting some fantastic lines in here. She really is so good at that, right? Like, they give her the high note and she will nail it all the time. A high note, not a falsetto, but she has enough projection in her voice to keep, when she uses chest voice, and she hits those notes, and has such great sustain because it's so clear all the way through until the end of that last syllable. She actually reaches that point, and it just sounds fantastic every time. So she's part of that build up as far as the vocal line goes. This is a nice track to follow up Dance the Night Away. Like it's very, very, seems like complementary to a track like Dance the Night Away. There's some similar characteristics, similar elements in the mix, as far as like the percussion and the bass and what those are doing. There's some pitch percussion sounds in there, something like a marimba or timpani or something like that. It sounds really nice. All the percussion is very round, to go with the bass. It's sort of bubbly, and it's a very cool song. It works on a compositional level, and also through the instrumentation, with the concept of this chill and relax kind of vibe. It's an interesting song too. Like, there's some, let's see, just leave it be, let it flow for a minute without a thought, leave it be. Dad told me that life is meant to be enjoyed. Interesting. Like this is interesting stuff, man. Just the song here. Let me see. Okay. The what I noticed in this one, just because it points it out, right, is there's a couple of lines. Let's see. Where's this? After the first verse, we get a little bit of dub chang, a couple of lines in here, some of the rap lines, and then they're followed by these 2 lines. Don't think about anything, don't worry, then you'll be happy. And it's Momo and Tsuyu, and it sounds to me like they're singing in unison, and it's like basically a soprano part, and it, like, Tsuyu's voice, of course, she has a nice upper register. It's very soft. Momo, what I notice about Momo is that even when she's singing, not necessarily like up in the head voice falsetto range, it's very nasally, like that. She gets that like that kind of, it's kind of throaty as well, like and it might just be her build, like the way she's she's built different, right? But the those two voices together in unison are extremely complementary. Like that's super interesting, and I can imagine how many times this is done, because they're so close. It's like one sort of fits inside of the other, and they're wrapped up in, they coalesce into this one sort of pitch, or this one, sound, this one frequency. And of course, you can tweak that a little bit with production, with some of the EQing. But it works really well, and it's a cool sound. It's they're just extremely complementary, and it creates another color. You know how you take two colors and you mix them together and you get another color? This color theory, because it deals with frequencies and invisible light, it's not like, it's very similar to the way that sound works, right? So it's similar to music theory, but there are certain intervals that you use in music theory in order to create tonal center, in order to create scales. So it's not exactly the same, but it's as if you were trying to take a color theory approach to it and put these two voices together that are so complementary that the thing that they create is something new, right? And that's really interesting. It's pocketing one voice in another voice, and it's just the first time that I'm like, have no doubt like that's what's happening there. Of course, when there's harmonization, like actual full-on harmonization going on, where somebody has the root of a chord, somebody has a third, and then somebody has a fifth and a seventh, even, because they have enough voices to do that. But usually, 3 parts is enough. They just sound so well together. There are different voices; they all work very well. They're all complementary to each other. But that was an interesting approach, because it's you look at the distribution of the lines, and there are certain parts where, like I said, Jangyeon, you're going to give her that really strong high note. Nayeon usually is an opener. Like, she usually comes in the beginning, opening the song. Not always, but it's typical. And then you have like Sana and Gio, or so, like, in this case there's Sana and Mina. They're kind of paired up together, and then Gio comes in, so like their vocals kind of tend to group together, and then let's see, we got Suyu, Gio, Jangyeon, and so you can kind of go just understanding, like, okay, that voice to that voice to that voice. So there's a reason for it too. Having Jangyeon, you kind of, start with Su, and then Gio, and then when you want it, that impactful, higher note, to when you want to do that ascending run and have it finish with that good strong sustain, that's why you're going to put Jangyeon at the last line, in that phrasing. So it's interesting. It's really interesting, to see the organization behind the distribution. And then those lines where it's Momo and Suyu together, it's like, I don't know. It's like either they wrote it with that in mind, which I think makes more sense. The alternative would be like, no, the song was written, and it's like, well, obviously there's certain parts that Chaeyoung's going to have, and so on. but who do we get for these lines, and like what would be the reason? You know what I'm saying? It feels like it's written specifically to have those two voices work together on these certain lines, or at the very least, it was written to have two voices, and then it was a process of deciding, well, actually, if you put Momo and Sue together, then that sounds really good. It's kind of the right tone that you want to create for those lines when they, like, where they appear in the song. Super interesting, like really, really super interesting, man. Yep, it gets more interesting. The plot thickens in this story here, but definitely has that sort of tropical vibe to it, a little housey, very, very chill type of song, as the title suggests, and a compliment to Dance the Night Away. It follows it stylistically and complements it with its actual style. Dance the Night Away is, bouncier, like, a bit bigger in sound. And then there's that, Dance the Night Away is almost fugue-like, because there's a specific phrase. It's that la 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 that appears in the vocal, and then it appears in certain horn parts that are in the mix, and then it's all over the place. It's almost like a fugue or something. And so this song being complementary in that it's a little bit more straightforward, kind of picks its dance groove and adheres to it pretty well, and just doesn't lean into such a big bright sound. It's because it's more chill. It's a little bit more laid back than that. So it's very complimentary to Dance the Night Away for sure. So just in a overall production sense, it's like, okay, that's a good follow-up track for something like Dance the Night Away. Okay, now let's check out Shot Through the Heart. So this is a MiSaMo song. That's what I noticed in the lyrics credit. Momo, Sana, Mina. That's very cool. That's very cool. And when it gets to the dubchang part, they have like 3 lines each in that section. And is it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. This color coding thing is like, I'm just trying to make sure, like, between the colors that I'm actually seeing here, like, that I have them right. And I'm pretty sure this is a dubchang part. If it's not, then it's mochang, but it's because the colors are really close for Taiwan and Momo. But it's 3 lines each, and the first 2, right? It's like rap, and then a sung melody line, and then rap, and then a sung melody line. That's like, it's thoughtful because they're understanding like who it is. So okay, well, you guys can rap, but you can also sing, and we like when you sing. So the way this goes is like, you get the first half kind of to do the rap rhythms on it, and then end it with a melodic line. That's really cool. That's just a really cool thing. It's a cool song. There's a lot of rhythmic things that are going on here. The bass, you have these double steps, boom, 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 boom. And there's a triplet. It's in 4, but there's these triplet groups. That's in. It's a kind of a high-pitched production, high-pitched synth sound. It's panned right, and it's doing a 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, and then there's an 8th note subdivision on that. Boom, 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 boom. And then the percussion, it's in 4. I think that was pretty much on. With maybe the hat was a little bit faster. But a lot of like interesting layering to the rhythms that are going on in the mix and the different parts. It's cool though. Like it's really cool. The bass sound was really nice. There's a sort of the bridgy part. You get the chord progression moving in the bass sound, because if I remember correctly, most of the mix was dropped out except for the vocal and the bass, and you heard the chords moving through the first part of that, the first phrase in the bridge section, but for the second one, it stayed on the same route, and it just sustained all the way through. And I was kind of like I was anticipating. I was anticipating it was going to move up, maybe at least one other chord, right? But it sustained all the way through, and I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting it to do that. I was expecting it to move again, but it was interesting. There was other parts then moving because it kind of built back up. So that bass note sustained all the way through, and there was synth over it that started to actually do the ascending part there, and but this is really cool, man. This is like Jangyan again came in like very, very nice on her lines. Let me see. Gio and Mina. Chaeyoung to open, but then Nayeon pretty much picks up the first verse. It's a fun song. Again, it has really great energy. Kind of does bridge the sounds a little bit. Dance the Night Away, you know, such a tropical sort of dancey type of vibe. Chillax is like, okay, it changes it up a little bit, gets a little bit more laid back. And thinking like tying it together with the songs on the What Is Love album, and Shot Through the Heart is a good track to bridge the sounds. Like it has the right kind of mix. It has the right kind of vocal work on it as well. To kind of, you know, make it more consonant from what the first issue of the album is, the What Is Love EP, and then this expanded reissue, right? The way to actually sort of glue it all together. I think this track actually works very well for doing that. And yeah, and it's really fun to see that this is a MiSaMo track. I should have been looking a little bit more at the credits, you know, the lyrics credits for some of the other songs, but I didn't. I saw them for some of them, and they didn't stand out. The thing I'm looking at, if it's a member, then it's also color coded, so that's why I was like, oh, look at this, Momo-san. Okay, so this is a MiSaMo track, and I didn't notice on the others, but I didn't look at all of them, admittedly. But it's really cool. It's really cool. And it's just fun to see. It's just really fun to see that the members have the, you know, the songwriting credits for these, and you know that when they write the songs, I mean, you know, because that's the thing that makes sense to me, right? Is that when you when you have the part with the rap section, this dub chang lines, that's why you have two lines, or the first half of, you know, the individual like phrases there is the rap rhythm, and then it goes into a melodic sung part. I think, to me, that seems very intuitive. It's like, you know, they know who their writing is for, and it's like, oh, this part right here, this is, you know, this is for Taeyeon, this is your part, so you could, like, here's the rhythm here, and then you can sing this part, you know, and then, you know, Chaeyoung, you have the next line, and, you know, you can go like with this rhythm here, and then sing this part, you know, the last line there. It's just a fun thing. It's really fun, and they're so good at it too. If that's like that being the case, it just shows this level of talent, and again, this is continues on with that idea of, after Twice-to-gram being such a marker, such a milestone, if you will, indicating where the group is. Again, we have this continued evolution and this development of their sound. But now I just consider the difference between the original EP and then the reissue, and you know, I see how they group these songs together, and the whole thing is fun, because I guess I'm like, where else would you put these three songs, right? Unless you were to make them half of another EP album or something like that, but it ends up working out very well. It ends up being overall a very consonant sounding album, and so that's very cool. That's a very cool thing to see. What Is Love, the album, is fun. It's good. It's good. You know, I still say that the What Is Love EP album is pretty much perfect, and this if I'm thinking Dance the Night Away, Chillax, and then Shot Through the Heart, it's especially Shot Through the Heart, because it's a MiSaMo written song. It adds, it gives a little bit something special, a little bit of bonus, right? Like a little, you know, because the What Is Love EP on its own is still good, it's still perfect, and this just kind of adds more to it. And they're great. I mean, Dance the Night Away is a great song. That's it's really cool. It's actually really cool. It's got a great video as well. Like the whole entire thing is just it's a blast. Like, it's so fun. So it matches the vibe. It has a bit of a different feel. Like, I think there is a contrast between these three tracks and then what the content of the initial album release was, the first What Is Love EP album. But I don't think it does anything to undercut the overall, you know, quality and feel of the album. I think it supplements it nicely. But it's another, you know, good, solid, great, wonderful, perfect Twice album. Everything about it is enjoyable. Oh man. Okay, so BDZ. So the debut Japanese studio album from Twice. And I'm gonna do it, right? Like, I'm gonna check this album out. I'm gonna do the album review just the same. I don't know, because the way it works with the Japanese releases is that there's different distribution rights and stuff around that, so it might get blocked in some places. I mean, like, I can almost guarantee that it will be blocked. So when I post that, it's not going to be available like everywhere. So if you don't, and I'll touch on this again. Well, in other words, right now I'm going to say, if you don't see a BDZ album review, it's because wherever you're watching from, the content is restricted in that area because of the distribution rights, you know. So if you are going along and it's like, oh, well, there's, you know, I don't see BDZ, it got blocked by the copyright. But you know, I'll do it anyway, and I don't know how it works. You know what I mean? If there's a way to make it available somehow, but we'll just see how it goes, and so that will be. I'll do it next. I mean, you know, I gotta do BDZ. There's no way I can't do BDZ. Yeah, but it's gonna have some restrictions on it for sure, because some of the, I mean, Donut, Kura Kura, those, you know, the songs that I have done that I know for sure, the Japanese tracks, they are partially blocked, at least in some places. But we'll give it our best shot, right? Like, and hopefully, you know, it can still reach. I know that because of the, you know, people have commented and things, so I know they reach some people, you know. Like, I know it can still be seen and all of that, but no, we'll give it a shot anyway. But What Is Love? Yeah, I'd say that's another. It just gets better. This is the crazy thing, right? Like, from the beginning, from the story begins. You know, Twice the Gram, that's very much a milestone. It's a point at which it's like, okay, we sort of evolved and reached a certain level here, and What Is Love picks up on that level, and that's why it's such a great album for sure. But BDC, that'll be the next one. We'll try it. We'll see what we can do.